Good morning, children.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
We
Good morning, ma'am.
learned about the different causes of disease by analyzing the case of a baby affected by a disease. We learned that diseases can have immediate causes as well as different contributory causes. Hope you are remembering what we covered. So today we are going to start with a new topic, infectious and non-infectious diseases. Can you tell me the difference between infectious and non-infectious diseases? We can even say, or we can even call these diseases as communicable and non-communicable diseases. Who will tell me the differences? Who will tell me the differences between, or just tell what is the major difference between infectious and non-infectious disease? Anandu?
Sorry, ma'am, I don't know.
You can't say I don't know because a small child will say infectious and non-infectious. You have to try, Anandu. What is meant by infectious? Communicable. Corona is a COVID-19 is a communicable disease. What do you mean by that? Anandu, unmute and speak.
It can
Ah,
spread to
it can spread from where
anyone,
it spreads? From an affected person to
affected person to another person.
Then why did you say I don't know? Then if that is communicable or infectious diseases, what are non-infectious diseases? Anjali Priya, what are non-infectious diseases?
Diseases which will not spread from.
Correct. So the diseases which will spread from an affected person to a healthy person are known as infectious diseases or communicable diseases. Whereas those diseases which will not spread from one person to another, you can call it as non-communicable or non-infectious diseases. Who will tell me some examples for infectious diseases? Swati, give me a few examples for infectious diseases.
Corona.
Corona is the name of the virus. What is the name of the disease? Huh? COVID-19. Then, very common diseases are there, Swati. Just think.
Malaria.
Malaria. Then, very often some disease, what you get?
Cold.
Common cold. Then, common cold is a very common, then chicken pox, typhoid, tuberculosis, all these are communicable diseases. And who will tell me some non-communicable diseases? Anybody? Some non-communicable diseases.
Cancer.
Cancer, then
Diabetes.
diabetes, very good. Diabetes, cancer, then the cardiovascular diseases like heart attack, then high blood pressure, low blood pressure. So we call it as hypertension and hypotension. All these are non-communicable. Heart diseases are non-communicable. Diabetes, allergic diseases are non-communicable. So there are so many examples for both communicable and non-communicable diseases. So let us learn more about infectious and non-infectious diseases. So based on the immediate causes, you can classify diseases into two. In our previous class, we learned about the immediate and contributory causes. And immediate causes, mainly it can be microbes. In majority of the cases, the immediate causes of the diseases are microbes. So based on the immediate causes of disease, you can categorize diseases into two types: infectious diseases and non-infectious diseases. So infectious diseases are caused by infectious agents. The infectious agents like microbes, then some are caused by internal non-infectious causes. So the classification of diseases into infectious and non-infectious diseases is based on the immediate causes. And immediate causes can be two types. It can be either infectious agents like microbes, then it will become infectious disease. But if these are caused by internal, non-infectious agents, then you can call them as non-infectious diseases. Diseases which spread from an infected person to a healthy person are known as infectious diseases. And in infectious diseases, microbes are the immediate causes. Example, common cold, which is caused by a virus, typhoid caused by bacteria, then tuberculosis also caused by bacteria, COVID-19 caused by coronavirus. You have n number of examples for communicable diseases. I'll repeat once again, the diseases which spread from an infected person to a healthy person are known as infectious diseases. And in infectious diseases, microbes are the immediate causes. Can I proceed to the next slide, children? Hope you are having no doubt. See, when something is asked, I would like to get a response from you, whether it is yes or no. But please do unmute and speak. First of all, you don't turn your videos on. And you are very lazy to unmute also, then it will be difficult. So if you're not interested in interaction, live interaction, it is better to watch a recorded session. Diseases which do not spread from an infected person to a healthy person are known as non-infectious diseases. So these diseases cannot be transmitted from one person to another. These can be caused due to internal non-infectious causes. For example, genetic abnormalities. By birth, there can be some defects in the genes that will not be transmitted to other person who comes in close contact, but it is hereditary. It can be transferred from parents to children, but not from one person to another, not from any person who is having this defect to another person. Then malnutrition. So if you are not taking proper nutritious food, you can get affected by different deficiency diseases. You have heard about scurvy, beriberi in lower classes, rickets, yes, deficiency diseases, anemia. So all these cannot be transmitted from one person to another. Then defective functioning of the organs. So some people can have defective kidney failure. Kidneys are not functioning properly. Heart is having, or the blood vessel supplying blood to the heart is having a block, or the heart is not working properly, or heart muscles are weak. So such problem in the some defects in the organs. So all those cannot be diseases caused by all these factors cannot spread from one person to another. I'll repeat once again, non-infectious diseases are the diseases which do not spread from the infected person to healthy person, and these are caused by internal and non-infectious causes. Examples for such causes are, note down the points, I'll ask you question: malnutrition, genetic abnormalities, defective functioning of organs. Example for a non-communicable disease: cancer caused by genetic abnormalities, high blood pressure caused by excessive weight and lack of exercise, or some cardiovascular diseases affecting your circulatory system and including your heart and blood vessels. So then allergy, all those cannot be considered as communicable diseases. They will not get transmitted from one person to another. Cancer, high blood pressure are two examples. Now, already we learned about infectious and non-infectious diseases, and I told you infectious diseases are caused by microbes. And these microbes or organisms which cause diseases, you can call them as infectious agents. What are infectious agents? Organisms that cause diseases. We can even call them as pathogens. Organisms which cause diseases are known as infectious agents. If these are microorganisms causing diseases, you call them as pathogens. These include viruses, bacteria, fungi, protozoans, and worms. These are examples for infectious agents. And there are some differences between these infectious agents. You know that in class 8 you have learned viruses are a bit different from all the other microorganisms. They need a host cell to survive. Outside a living cell, they do not show any signs of life. But once they enter a host, this host can be a plant cell or an animal cell, including human beings. So once they enter a host cell, they will multiply. But without a host cell, they cannot become active or they cannot multiply. Viruses live inside host cells, whereas bacteria very rarely live inside host cells. Viruses, bacteria, and fungi multiply very quickly, whereas worms are very slow in multiplying. These are some differences between these infectious agents, differences existing among various infectious agents. I'll repeat once again. Viruses need a host cell to survive. When compared to all the other microorganisms, viruses, for them to survive, a host cell is must. Outside the host cell, they do not show any signs of life. Viruses can live or they can use a bacterial cell, a plant cell, or an animal cell as the host. Even inside bacteria, you can find viruses. Such viruses you call as bacteriophage. I don't know whether you have heard about bacteriophage. Bacteriophage means it's a virus using bacteria as its host. A bacteria will be the host of this particular virus. And viruses, bacteria, and fungi will multiply very rapidly, very quickly. But worms are very slow in multiplying. Here are a few microbes or infectious agents and the diseases caused by them. Bacteria can cause diarrhea, tuberculosis, tetanus, whooping cough. Virus can cause common cold, dengue fever, SARS. SARS is a respiratory disease. Then AIDS. Fungi, ringworm. When you hear ringworm, you should not think that it is a worm. Ringworm is the name of the disease because it will form ring-like round patches on your body. You call this infection as ringworm infection. It is caused by a fungus. Then elephantiasis and various skin infections. Protozoa can cause malaria, amoebic dysentery, sleeping sickness, and Kala Azar. Kala Azar, sleeping sickness, amoebic dysentery, malaria, etc. are caused by protozoans. Okay? Have you noted down the points? Yes or no?
Ma'am, no, not finished.
Okay. Viruses need a host cell. Without a host cell, viruses cannot survive. So we say that viruses are on the borderline between living and non-living. Or without a host cell, they cannot multiply. And viruses, bacteria, and fungi, they multiply very rapidly, but worms are very slow in multiplying. And some diseases, infectious diseases caused by different microbes are given here. Bacteria causes diarrhea, tuberculosis, tetanus, whooping cough. Virus, common cold, dengue fever, SARS, and AIDS. SARS is a respiratory disease. Then fungi can cause ringworm, elephantiasis, skin infections. Protozoa, malaria, amoebic dysentery, sleeping sickness, and Kala Azar. Next, we are going to learn about a very, very important point, a very important topic, So this definitely you can expect as a 3-mark question or a sub question for an essay question. Why antibiotics are not effective against viral infections? See, most of the viral diseases, they cannot be controlled by antibiotics. You know, common cold caused by virus. Whether you take medicines or not, 1 week you will have to suffer with the disease. Take the case of chicken pox. You take any medicine, but for 14 days, the course is 14 days. Only after 14 days you will get recovered. Because in bacterial infection, you can use antibiotics to cure the disease. But antibiotics cannot be used to cure viral infections. There is a specific reason. You're going to learn the reason for that. And presently, we have a very few antiviral drugs. With much difficulty, scientists have prepared it, but very few. Generally, antibiotics, that is antiviral drug. Antiviral drug, very few we have succeeded in making, but not for curing, but to relieve the sufferings of the person affected by the disease. Whereas antibiotics can cure bacterial infections, but you cannot use for treating viral infections. And the reason for that, you're going to analyze. And antibiotics. Can anybody tell me the definition for antibiotics? We learned in class 8. Anybody? Antibiotics. Who will tell me the definition? Nobody? That is very bad. Anybody? You are waiting for me to call out your names? Let it be wrong. I've told you earlier also, you're free to make mistakes. You learn from mistakes. Let it be wrong. But when you hear the term antibiotics, what do you understand? What are they used for? From where are they produced? Anybody? Then I'll call out the name. Let it be wrong. No problem. You make mistakes and learn from mistakes. Sania? Sania Jinu?
Yes, ma'am.
You tell me what
Yes,
you
ma'am.
know about antibiotics. Let it be wrong, no problem. When you hear the term antibiotics, what do you understand? What are they? We all have taken antibiotics at least once in your lifetime. What are they, Sani?
To cure diseases.
It is used to cure diseases. What are they actually? They are medicines. From where do you get it? Not from medical shop, not that what I want. From where are these medicines prepared? Class 8, you have learned. From where are these medicines prepared? Antibiotics. Anybody?
They are drugs.
No, let it be drugs. But from where are they produced? Using what? Antibiotics. In class 8, you've learned a detailed chapter about
microorganisms.
Yes, very good. Microorganisms. Mostly from bacteria and fungi, we prepare antibiotics. Can anybody tell me the first antibiotic? No. All these you've learned in class 8. See, whatever you have learned in a particular class, don't leave it there. You should carry over to the next class. The first antibiotic is penicillin. Penicillin is produced from the fungus Penicillium. All these you've learned. The first antibiotic is penicillin. Antibiotic, the term means against life. Anti means against. Biotic means life. So against life. Not against our life, but against the life of disease-causing microorganisms. You can define antibiotics as medicines produced from microorganisms which are used to kill or stop the growth of disease-causing microorganisms. Antibiotics are medicines produced from microorganisms and used to kill or stop the growth of disease-causing microorganisms. This is a definition which you have learned in class 8. So antibiotics, they will block the biochemical pathways which are important for bacteria. For example, take the case of antibiotic penicillin. Antibiotic penicillin. This will block the bacterial processes that build the cell wall. See, once a bacterium enters your body, it has to multiply. So for that, they have to make cell wall. There are different processes. So one such process is to prepare its cell wall. So when you take antibiotic like penicillin, it will interfere with the cell wall formation of bacteria. So as a result, cell wall cannot be formed and the bacteria will die. So antibiotics, they block what? The biochemical pathways which are important for the microorganisms. For example, penicillin will block the pathway for building cell wall. So hence, cell wall cannot be formed, bacteria cannot survive, and they will die easily. But when you take these, now you might be having the doubt, if it is affecting the bacteria, can it affect the human beings who are consuming it? But we don't have cell wall. Our cells are bound by cell membrane. We don't have cell wall. So we are not making cell wall. So penicillin cannot affect us. They will affect these microorganisms or bacteria specifically. Okay? And many antibiotics. For example, if you take the case of penicillin, penicillin is not used against just one bacterium. It can be used against several bacterium. Same antibiotics can be effective against several species of bacteria. But now coming to the topic, coming to the caption, that is, children, what is the time now? 10:45?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, it's time to wind up, no? Okay, but viruses are not having any biochemical pathways. So, these antibiotics are not effective against, viruses. So, just now we saw why antibiotics are not effective against viruses. So antibiotics, as I told you, these are medicines produced from microorganisms and used to kill or stop the growth of disease-causing microorganisms. But these are effective against bacteria and certain other pathogens, certain other microorganisms, but not against viruses. So let's see, we already saw the reason for that, and I told you bacteria, they have some biochemical pathways of their own. For example, the antibiotic penicillin, when it is consumed by us, this will disturb. In case of bacteria are present in your body, they will block the pathway for building cell wall. So bacteria, without making cell wall, they cannot multiply or they cannot survive. As a result, they will die and we will be cured of the disease. And at the same time, we don't make any cell wall. So penicillin cannot damage our functions of our body. And why it is not active against viruses? Because viruses are not having any biochemical pathways of their own, like bacteria. They enter the host cell and depend upon the biochemical machinery or the biochemical pathways of the host cell. If virus is entering my body, virus will use my biochemical pathways or the biochemical pathways taking place in my body for multiplying. They do not have their own pathways. So if you take a medicine to kill these viruses, it can affect our body also. It can affect our own body functions. So that is why viruses cannot be controlled using antibiotics. So we'll see the slide once again. Once again, I'll repeat the points. Antibiotics block the biochemical pathways which are important for bacteria. And for example, the antibiotic penicillin will block the bacterial processes which make a cell wall. And as a result, bacteria cannot make cell wall and they will die. And human beings do not make cell wall, so it is not having any effect on us, and we can successfully get cured of the disease caused by that particular bacteria. And many antibiotics can work against several species of bacteria instead of just one. Viruses, on the other hand, do not have any biochemical pathways of their own, and they will enter the host cell and use the machinery of the host cell to carry out their life processes or to multiply. They depend upon the biochemical mechanisms of the host cell. That is why antibiotics are not effective against viruses. Any doubt? Any doubt, children? So before I proceed, I would like to know how far you have understood. So I'll give a few minutes for you to recollect and review what you have covered. After that, I'll be asking questions. So go through the notes which you have taken down. I'll give you a few minutes, and after that, I'll be asking you the questions. Hope you have covered. You got enough time to go through what we have covered. Why antibiotics are not effective against viral infections? Anjali Priya.
Antibiotics commonly block biochemical pathways important for bacteria.
Bacteria. Continue, Gauri. Continue. Answer is not complete. I want you to continue. One example I have mentioned.
Penicillin.
It will
Block in. It will not block virus, but it will block other
how it
bacteria.
is going to block? It will block the biochemical pathway for making what? What do bacteria make? Outer layer. What is the outer layer in bacteria? In plants, what is the outer layer?
Cell wall.
So it will block the pathway for making cell wall. So what will happen, Gauri?
So in humans, they do not have cell walls, so it will not affect the human cell wall.
But it will affect the
Bacteria.
and they won't be able to survive. When they cannot make the cell wall, they cannot survive. Then why it is not effective against viruses? Continuation of the same answer. Srihari, add your points.
So viruses don't have their pathways, so
then what do they do? Then how do they multiply?
They depend on human pathways. So
yes.
the,
Once they correct. Once they enter the host cell, they will use the biochemical pathways or machinery of the host cell to multiply, and that is why viruses are not effective against. Antibiotics are not effective against viral infections, or else you can say virus cannot be controlled by antibiotics. Okay, got it? So what are non-infectious diseases? Sriram, what do you mean by non-infectious diseases?
The diseases which will not spread from one person to another.
Shania, give me 2 examples for non-infectious diseases.
Cancer.
Cancer. One more. Blood pressure, or even diabetes, you can say. Okay, so we'll wind up, children. Please do read the topics covered when you come next class. Okay. Thank you, children. See you next class.
Thank you, ma'am.